Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It looks like we're good.
Okay, we're right on.
Yeah, right
How you
on.
doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you gentlemen doing?
Pretty good.
Awesome.
Good. It's good to hear. Yeah, what was that?
Go ahead.
Oh, I've been following you guys for a while, and I became very involved in the grip sport world about 6 months ago, 7 months ago. So I started following people like Joseph Hodgson and Don Cummings. And I saw you guys, and it was really interesting to see that you wanted to improve like other people's lives, like people that weren't really doing anything, or not really taking care of themselves. That's a big thing to me personally. That's huge. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we're just trying to get some advice out there for people that are stuck at home and they really don't know how to do any fitness journey. Maybe they were out there walking around and they got a little scared to do anything and they didn't have a choice but to build a home gym or come up with some home exercises.
Yeah, pretty much, especially in these times right now. It's very hard to get anything done. For a while, nobody had any gyms, and this is common knowledge. Everybody knows this. It was hard to get around for anybody. To try to find a path and make yourself better. It's very tough. It's very hard.
Absolutely. And not only that, I mean, there's a lot of people also out there that don't want to go to the gym because they have a fear of being judged or something like that. And they're just like, yeah, we don't want to work out in front of people. I wish I could do something at home just to
That's also
very
very
true. I think it helps that growth as well.
Yeah, and the gyms that tend to cater towards those people that don't want to go to the gym or like go out to the gym, I don't think they do a very good job. Like gyms like Planet Fitness and stuff, gyms that cater towards a more casual crowd, I suppose.
Right.
I feel like there's not a very good market towards that, at least right now.
You mean like painting the equipment some strange color and telling people not to yell isn't enough to attract?
That yellow and purple really trips me out. I feel like I'm gonna get a seizure looking in that gym.
You also have pizza Monday or something.
It's uncomfortable.
Pizza every Friday, once a month or something.
Yeah,
some ridiculous junk.
Come eat a bunch of carbs and work out. Like that's gonna help you at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Normal equipment. Let people, express their emotions when they're lifting and teach them how to use them and, teach them some basic nutrition and just make a nice, fun center for people and you're set, man.
Yeah, that's what people should do. That's what people should focus on. But that's not what happens, when you try to cater towards everybody, I find a lot of those places, there were gyms like Planet Fitness before it even existed, more casual places. And, that's fine, but it's only fine to an extent, Some people take it too far. Like
for sure. Like a 24-hour fitness was definitely catered more towards casual people come in anytime.
Definitely. I used to when I first started going to a gym, there's a gym across the street from my house. It was called the Powerhouse. It's a chain, and it was 24 hours. So it's like a casual commercial gym. And I liked it there. It wasn't bad, but when I started to get more into researching and I got more into like powerlifting, I got more into like the actual sport of lifting, I kind of decided to branch out, so I left this little commercial gym that was really close to my home, and I started going to like really old school powerlifting gyms in the Metro Detroit area. There's actually a lot of those. It's a pretty big crowd and a pretty big scene. So, for the first year of my lifting career, I started out in a commercial gym, and I pretty much became the big fish in the small pond, I never saw anybody squatting more than 315. I never saw anybody deadlifting 405. I very rarely saw people benching 225. And, that's kind of to be expected. And once I switched to the scene and I started going to powerlifting gyms, I started seeing dudes pulling 700, people squatting 6, dudes bleeding from their foreheads because they're squatting so heavy. You get yourself involved in a scene like that. It makes you a lot better. It's like immersion. That's what they talk about. And if you surround yourself by people that are very strong, more than likely you're going to be strong. That's how it is. So it was a big change for me going from like a commercial gym to a really old school powerlifting gym, and like seeing people that were like really big, really juicy. You know, that's something I never saw before. So it's something really new to me. And I got involved into a grip sport about 6 months ago because I saw, I was just looking on YouTube and I saw feats by people like Adam Glass and Brian Shaw. And I saw them using a handle called a little bighorn. It's shaped like a cone. I think I have in my closet if you want me to show one.
Yeah, we have one behind us somewhere.
Oh, you have one? Oh, yeah, I see it right there. It's next to the flask and looks like it's under a rolling handle.
Yeah, it's just above. Yeah, it's under and above a rolling handle. It's under the pressure and above the rolling grip thingy.
Yeah, that right there is my favorite handle by far.
What's that?
Definitely my favorite handle.
That is your favorite handle?
100%. Yes, that is my favorite handle. I find it very comfortable. I made a lot of progress on it, and I noticed it translated a lot to my other lifts. Like a lot of my pinching and a lot of just like random stuff that I do, it translated pretty well. And when I was
I've heard that about the vertical bar as well, and it's kind of similar, but
it's very similar to a vertical bar. Yeah,
you have to squeeze a little bit differently because
yeah, I like to hold it near the top where it gets thinner.
Okay.
I'm sure I see some guys, they like to hold it closer to the bottom when they train it, not necessarily when they go for a max. But, you know, yeah, I saw Brian Shaw originally use the little bighorn handle. That was the first time I like saw anything grip related. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. You know, so I went to Iron Mind and I bought one. And the first time I ever did it, I only did like 120 pounds or something like that. You know, I never trained grip like before I started. So
yeah, I think I only pulled like 135 on it first time I tried. So that was after a few months of grip training.
Yeah, it's definitely a very peculiar tool, and I couldn't find any info on it when I went online. Like I tried to research in forums, and I found things about like Anvil Lifting and things about just stuff like that. You know, like it was a very old time feat for blacksmiths to lift anvils by the horn. It's a very classic type of feat, but anvil lifting is definitely a little bit different than using the little bighorn. It's you know, it's shaped differently, so it's going to be a little bit different. Those little minute differences in texture and shape is really huge. You know, I'm sure that the little bighorn I have now, it's gotten some rust on it, so it's probably easier to grip than, you know, a fresh one from like an Iron Mind package or one that's going to be like at a competition. You know, I see a lot of competitions for it in like Eastern Europe. It's very interesting. It's very interesting to see. Most people in those competitions are pulling anywhere from like 80 kilograms to 100. And it's not popular by any means, but it's by far my favorite tool.
Yeah, I've noticed more anvil lifting over in Europe as well than
really?
Here in the U.S. At least I think it might be easier to get a hold of an anvil, at least over there.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
I would think that another thing with the anvil compared to the bighorn is I would think that the structured weight of the anvil would definitely play more torque on the wrist than having a weight just hanging from it.
It definitely will. You know, you don't have plates and you don't have, you know, a solid shape. You have a really weird shape going on with an anvil. So when you're picking that up, that's definitely going to be different. You know, it's going to weigh out differently, and, you know, it's going to feel very foreign, very awkward as compared to a handle like a little bighorn.
So have you competed in any grip sport or
powerlifting
competition, strongman, anything like that?
I've never competed in my life in powerlifting or strongman or grip sport. I've thought about doing powerlifting, but I don't like I don't like a lot of the testing, and I don't like some of the rules they have. I don't even bench press, like personally. Like I train a lot, but I don't bench press. I like weighted dip and overhead press, but you know, if I were to go to a meet, I'd probably only do pull only or something like that. I've put a lot of thought into it, but I'm definitely holding that on pause for now. You know, it's very hard for me to try to organize myself and get myself to a meet when I'm doing 70 hours, you know, a week at work. It's very tough. It's very hard.
So is deadlift, do you consider that your specialty? So
No,
you do
no,
pull
I
only?
don't consider myself a deadlift specialist. I only deadlift like once a month.
Okay.
Just about, because when my work is delivering appliances, I deliver washers and dryers and stoves and fridges. So I carry them into houses and I use a strap. So that's a lot of hip hinge that's being worked on me. It's almost all hip hinge when I'm pulling stuff with a dolly and I'm doing things. So I try to be very careful and very conservative when I'm doing that. It's so deadlifting I only do about like once a month, but I definitely consider myself way more talented in deadlifting than in any other areas of lifting that I've done.
Okay.
Yeah, like the first time I ever walked into a gym, I weighed 140 and I pulled 315, just double overhand, conventional. It was a new movement to me. I never did it. It wasn't like I was a pud though. You know, I used to wrestle in high school and I was like into track and field and, you know, so it's not like I sat on the couch and just went to the gym and pulled 315, you know, so I definitely had some athletic background going on and that contributed a lot to it.
Yeah, I saw your 500 X10 video you just put up a day ago.
Yeah, I just put that up. I actually pulled that like 2-3 weeks ago or something like that. I was just making a post of like a collection of recent lifts.
Do you still pull double overhand?
No,
You
I
just
don't
pull mixed group now.
Yeah, I pull mixed grip because to me, if I'm pulling double overhand, if I'm not trying to limit myself, I'm going to use hook grip. I don't like hook grip. I don't like it. I don't like how it feels on my thumbs. But there's a cost to doing things mixed grip. If you mixed grip deadlift for a couple of years, there's definitely a imbalance that you'll see.
Yeah.
So when I do mixed grip, I keep my right hand supinated and I keep my left hand pronated. And my left hand pronation strength is far above my right hand. It eclipses it. That's not nearly the same. And the supination in my right hand is way better than my left.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see, especially since I just recently got into arm wrestling, like competitive arm wrestling. I do want to compete in that. I do want to go to tournaments for that.
Okay.
But I joined a local club and it's full of a lot of good guys. We have a guy in there that's ranked in the state, so he's pretty good. And you know, we practice every week and we train like grip and like random things. And it made me see that like my left hand, my pronation in my left hand, any arm lifting I'm gonna do or anything grip related I'm gonna do, my left hand is way better than my right. And I'm not even left-handed, you know.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the cost of using mixed grip and deadlifting, especially if you do it for many years. I've only trained for 3 years, but that alone made a huge difference for sure.
Yeah, it makes sense. The torque on the wrist in the supination position would definitely, you know, help that get a lot stronger for a lot of the grip areas that are weak, especially the ring and pinky, you know.
Sure. Definitely.
The only reason I asked is a lot of grip guys, they test their grip by doing double overhand deadlift without straps, no hook grip, and kind of like see what they can do.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure what my double overhand without straps would be. I own an axle bar, so I do want to get into axle bar training a lot more. I actually had a friend make it for me. He
nice.
He only charged me like $60.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It is definitely awesome.
Axle is so helpful for
you'll have a lot
training.
of fun playing on the axle for sure.
Yeah, and from what I've read on forums, most people agree that axle training is one of the best ways to improve your grip.
Oh yeah, top 2 for sure.
Yeah, axle and two-hand pinch and two-hand fat bar is basically it. Those are the big ones.
I love pinching a lot. Pinching is one of my favorites. I'm very new to pinching, but I think plate pinches are the coolest. You know?
You're gonna start pinching appliances at work and see if you could lift them or something eventually. It's kind of a light freight.
Honestly, it's a lot of cupping. It's like a lot of like bending my wrist and putting over the edge of a piece when I'm pulling it. So it's a lot of cupping work, and you don't see cupping in most grip sport unless you're into arm wrestling. Like like I use the Grip Genie, the rolling handle from Grip Genie. I use that for cupping. That one's a pretty good tool. I've used the Iron Mind one too. That one's even easier. I think Adam Glass mentioned that the handle from Grip Genie is probably the hardest rolling handle he's ever tested.
Yeah,
And
it's a really smooth rolling handle.
I don't find that surprising at all, because when I pulled the Iron Mind one, it felt way easier than using the Grip Genie one, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, the Grip Genie one has that small spindle that just it makes it want to spin.
It definitely has a lot more spin to it, yeah.
For sure.
It definitely does.
I've got a smooth plastic one that was built on a heavy 2-inch roller, and it spins really well too because it has a small spindle. So I wonder, how close it is in toughness to that one, because the one I built is really tough.
Really?
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I definitely love to see the homemade grip tools that people make. I love to see that type of stuff. It's very interesting what people can do. Like, a lot of people will take hockey pucks and use that for pinching.
Okay.
A friend of mine actually made me a pinch hub. Like, he welded it together. It looks just like the Iron Mind one. It's really quality. And
Do you follow Jokabug stuff?
I've heard of him. I think I've seen a couple of his posts, but I don't think I follow him.
Yeah, he makes some amazing grip equipment. He's worth following.
Does he sell it personally, or?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he sells stuff,
okay.
and he just also gifts stuff to people, and he's just been designing and creating people's ideas for years. People will come up with a concept and send it to him. He'll just create it. It's amazing.
I'm definitely a big fan of that. I love to see, some very creative ideas, especially in concerning grip. It's very interesting to me.
So have you built anything yourself that's a neat DIY project?
No, I haven't. It's hard to find time to actually do that. I wanted to build a loading pin. Those are easy to build. Anybody could build a loading pin if you go to Home Depot, but no, I have not built anything myself. So I might try to look into that sometime. I definitely want to get into bending. I bought a beginner bag, so that's on the way in the mail. And Don Cummings, who was on your podcast, I actually talked to him. He lives very close to me.
Oh man, that's cool. Yeah, definitely.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah, that's good.
Train with him. That would be.
Yeah. He offered that to me, and I was like, wow,
for sure.
That's really cool of you.
Yeah, you would learn how to bend steel in no time doing that.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, especially if you're training with somebody like that. I think it's, he does something pretty niche. You don't find a lot of grip sport alone is already niche,
Yeah.
You don't find a lot of people in the bending. So I'm pretty sure Don thought it was cool that I just hit him up and asked him a couple questions. I think that definitely made somewhat of an impression. I do want to learn a lot about bending, though. Bending is probably the most interesting facet of grip to me.
Yeah, I think it had its biggest spike in popularity this past year because people realized they could go to the hardware store and get some workout equipment for a few bucks. So
yeah, that makes sense. Buying some nails. He recommended some nails to me from the hardware store and stuff, and so I got some of those, and I bought some wraps. I bought some 60D nails, and I definitely want to show him some attempts and get some practices in, and learn a lot about bending.
So even though you don't compete, what do you think is your greatest athletic achievement so far?
I mean, I've deadlifted over 600, but personally to me, I think doing a top set of 10 is very powerful. So I think 500 by 10 is probably my best feat, especially concerning I don't use a belt and I don't do touch and go or anything like that. That makes a big difference. I actually went on YouTube and I looked up 500 by 10 deadlift just to see how other people did it and what comparisons I could make. And almost everybody did touch and go, or they wore a belt, or nothing wrong with that. Still an impressive feat, but I never really used a belt in training. I never really liked it. I never preferred it, and I don't think my numbers really warrant it. And I think once you reach pretty elite numbers, a belt is a valuable tool. It's very good for you. But if you're still even intermediate or novice, or even some advanced people, I'd say I don't think a belt is great for you. That's just me personally. I'm sure a lot would disagree.
Yeah, there's been days when we aren't quite at really high numbers yet. We're in the intermediate range, and there's been days where we just deadlifted without the belt, or did our axle without the belt because it's in the 300 range.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
No,
At least we didn't feel anything wrong with it, because it's
If your main
If you're in
priority
decent shape and decently strong, you can handle it.
Oh, of course. Yeah. If your main priority is, being safe, then yeah, there's no problem with the belt. If you're an old dude and you're at the gym, whatever, who cares?
So, what do you consider your greatest blunder or injury?
I've, knock on wood, God help me, but I've never really fucked myself up. I've never really, excuse my language, I've never really injured myself.
Yeah, have you ever done these things silly during weightlifting that could have dang near caused an injury?
No, I consider myself a very conservative person. Like when I go to arm wrestling training, I've had more fear of injury doing that than I have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And oftentimes I'll cut like a match short. Like if I'm in a losing position and it doesn't feel good at all, I'll be like, stop. I don't want to mess myself up.
Yeah, absolutely. Arm wrestling, yeah, that would be horrible.
It's very easy to do that, especially if you're somebody like me who's had maybe like 10 practices to their name. It's very easy for a beginner to injure themselves.
You ever had anything on the job happen?
I've cut myself pretty times. Like I've cut myself pretty deep, but I haven't, not yet. Thank God, I haven't hurt myself yet. But I've seen guys that have hurt themselves. There's a gentleman at my job, and we deliver sub-zero fridges. These are very heavy fridges. They're about 1,000 pounds. Very tall, very heavy. And he tipped it the wrong way on his dolly, and it fell on top of him.
Oh, my gosh.
And he broke his ankles, both of his wrists, both of his arms. But mind you, he came into work pretty wasted. That's why that happened.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. You play with fire, you get burnt. And he tried to actually sue the company for getting hurt. Didn't get anything out of it.
I don't think that's going to work when you're wasted.
Not when you're wasted. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, a lot of those guys who come in, unfortunately, they come in, shaking. They come in sweating and shaking, and it's very sad to see. It's very sad. A lot of those guys don't take care of themselves. They let the job eat them alive. And that's why I really tried to encourage just small things you can do at home, like training grip. That's not something that's, you don't have to go outside to do it. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Grip is an amazing thing to me. It helps out on the job.
Yeah.
And I think the most powerful thing that any human can do is better their tendons and ligaments. Tendons and ligaments should not be underestimated, and they're very powerful. And I think anybody out there could have very strong tendons and ligaments. You could be a guy with low testosterone, bad genetics, whatever, but you could have a very strong grip, and that's respectable.
Absolutely.
Women could have very strong grips.
Yeah.
You look at fields like gymnastics, and there are very strong people with very strong tendons and ligaments. So as a human being, I think the most advantageous thing you can do, regardless of who you are, is increase your grip or increase your tendon and ligament strength.
Yeah, absolutely. I think connective tissue is 100% what, deteriorates the slowest and holds you together the best when you're getting older, for sure.
Yes, very much so. In fact, when I first started getting into arm wrestling, like the first week ever, I was at a friend's house and we were practicing on the table. And this old man came by. He was a friend of my friend's wife. And he's 60 years old. His name's Keith. Really friendly guy. He's very unassuming. You look at him and you don't think much of it. But he was like, "Oh, arm wrestling? I used to arm wrestle when I was a kid. I used to arm wrestle at the fishing docks and stuff like that." And he was like, "Let me arm wrestle you, son." And I was like, I don't want to hurt this old dude. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I didn't really take a look at his hands, but he showed me his hand, like when he went on the table, and his hand was very. He used to be a fisherman. He did fishing for a living his whole life. And fishing is very hard.
Yeah. And they're pulling the nets all the time. And, oh, man. Yeah, those guys get some monster hands.
Exactly. So when I gripped up with him, I was like, oh, my God, this guy's hands are big. And he was like, go whenever you want. Just go whenever you want. I don't care. I was like, you sure? And he was like, yeah. And I couldn't even move him. Couldn't budge him. He just sat there and smiled. And, he just obviously experience plays in a role, and Keith is a very experienced person, but the fact that I could not move his hand had a big impact on me.
Yeah, for sure.
I was, you know, and my boss, my good friend who was with me at the time, arm wrestled him too, and he's no chump. He's a big guy. He could bench a lot. He could squat 500 pounds. Couldn't move him either. It was even worse than me. No, it was bad. He embarrassed us both. It was pretty bad. But you know, you take what you can from that, and you try to learn. You know,
yeah,
it's pretty
sure.
definitely. You know, so I have a lot of mad respect for Keith and how much training he's done and how strong his hands are. You know, that's definitely something that doesn't decline very fast with age.
Yeah, grip is one of the last things to go.
Definitely. Awesome. I see a lot of older gentlemen in arm wrestling, and they don't do too bad for themselves, not at all.
Well, that's why you see a lot of these strongmen starting to go into grip training too, because as they get older, they still could definitely compete in grip sports. So it's interesting to see like Mark Felix starting to do grip, and we'll eventually see Brian Shaw switch over to it as well as soon as he's done with World's Strongest Man. I think we'll go more into grip.
You think Brian's gonna switch to grip mostly?
Eventually, yes, I do. He will.
Since he's very talented in grip, very talented. I mean, he doesn't train Little Bighorn, but he matched the world record at the time of the video he made about it. He just matched it casually.
Yeah, you'll see him going to grip, I think. And then, like I said, Mark Felix has already started that journey of going into grip. So
Mark Felix is going into grip. I know he used to do grip. I know he did like Rolling Thunder competitions.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's primarily focused on mostly like Hercules hold and things like that. So, which is primarily grip focused.
Well, it's a lot of grip. It's a lot of wrist flexion too.
Yeah.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah, for sure. So what is one of your current major athletic goals?
Right now, I definitely want to pull in the sevens. I want to get to over 700. I just want to get better at grip. I think grip is becoming my my forte, or not my forte, but that's definitely most of my training is gonna be around grip. I think. Before I did grip, I just did powerlifting, and I did weighted calisthenics. Like I did weighted pull up, weighted dip, a lot of fun things. And I increased my grip to actually get better at weighted pull up. That's what originally got me into gripping first. But being a man that weighs over 225, calisthenics is not really what you want to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Most men 25 can't really do any pull-ups. And I don't want to lose weight. I don't want to go below 225. It helps my job to have a lot of fat on me, have a lot of weight on me. It helps all the things I want to do, like just being powerful.
Yeah.
So being strong definitely comes at a price. I realized that very early on when I first walked into the gym and I was 150. I did 3x10 every day. And I didn't eat a lot. And, I wondered to myself, I was like, why am I not getting better? And I saw, I just started watching on YouTube, and there was this one guy I used to watch. And he straight up said, look, man, you either eat like a regular Joe or you eat like a GI Joe. That's how it is. And so every day I ate a lot of food, and pretty soon I went from 140 to 170, then 180, then 200, then 225. And quite personally, I didn't think that was possible. I didn't think I would be 225 like 3 years ago. If you asked me, I would have said, yeah, maybe I'll be like 190 in like 5 years or something like that. But it's definitely easier to gain weight than to go out of your way to lose it if you're trying to get shredded, in my opinion. But,
So what are some lifestyle habits you subscribe to that may benefit the average person trying to get fit and healthy?
I think the most important thing is the mindset you have. The brain is a very powerful tool, and we don't understand a lot about it. We know more about the open universe than we do the brain. So to me, I personally believe in a thing called manifestation. If you think about something enough and you dream about something, it happens. I mean, obviously, if I dream that, I'm going to be a billionaire, I'm not going to be a billionaire overnight, right?
Yeah.
But, if I go to bed every night and I think about being strong and I think about being powerful and I dream about it, and I dream about it, it's more than likely going to happen. I think the most powerful thing anybody can do is have a good attitude, have a good mindset, and dream deeply. Like, go out of your way to think of these things. If you go out of your way to think of becoming strong and to think of changing, it happens. Whether you like it or not, it happens. And that's very interesting to me.
Yeah, I believe in that as well. It's really powerful,
Powerful.
I believe once you set your mind on that course, your mind's going to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, there's a study I read. Sorry, I can't cite it right now. But they had patients who broke their wrists, and they were all put into casts, and they set them into two separate groups. One group, they didn't have to do anything. They were like, just do your thing. You're our control group, whatever. And the other group, they were like, think about exercising your hand. Think about making your hand stronger. Just do it as much as you can. Let's see what happens. And when they took the cast off, the group that thought about it and like dreamed about it and like thought about having strong wrists, they ended up having wrists and hands twice as strong as the control group. And I think that says a lot. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard that. I've read studies as well that say that just thinking about exercise has physical benefits. It's
It
quite
does.
impressive.
It
Yeah,
does.
visualization training, just visualizing the bones growing or fusing. If you can, they'll show them what the bones look like and have them visualize in their mind their own bones fusing and getting stronger.
Yeah, that's very huge. Most people, the average person is not going to think about that or, do anything
For sure.
about it. So I think it's definitely it can make a big difference in your life, especially early on, if you think about these things and you think about how powerful the mind is, a mind over matter type of thing. Very powerful.
100%. That's a huge part of our training is mental focus. I mean, I study performance psychology, so that's a big part of my training.
Wow, that's pretty.
I believe having the right mindset, it trumps almost everything.
It definitely does. It definitely helps out in the real world too. Anything else you're doing in life.
I also think it plays a big role in why a lot of people will PR in competition versus at-home training, because they have 10 or 12 other people telling them that they can do it, so they start believing it more. So they actually pull a PR because the environment is uplifting, encouraging, and they have their mind like, yeah, I'm going in, I'm going to dominate.
Yeah, we had some crazy PRs at our competition this past weekend. We just had a ton of competitors rooting each other on. It was fantastic.
That's very awesome. I wish there was a big arm lifting scene in my area, but just the fact that I have a steel bending championship every year in my state, that's pretty huge.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Yeah, because Don's there. So yeah, absolutely.
I actually got to take off. So I got to take off. I'm going to leave you with Frank. I got to get my son to martial arts, so I will catch up with you later, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. You got to take care of yourself, all right?
Yeah.
All righty. So speaking of things the average person doesn't think of, have you stumbled upon any strange training techniques that have helped you out that normal people wouldn't put in their program?
Honestly, I put a lot of faith and stock into old school lifts. I put a lot of faith and stock to it. I think pullovers are very important, especially if you're in developing chest.
Yeah.
I think a lot of old school training and thought, this stuff doesn't really change. If you look at guys from 100 years ago, they did pullovers, they did cheat curls, strict curls, they did overhead pressing.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of stuff that people do nowadays, especially since powerlifting is very popular. So, you see a lot of, I guess, more modern styles of training. I wouldn't call it that.
Yeah, it's really sport focused now as opposed to functional focused. It used to be focused on being strong for life. as opposed to like just generally being strong, as opposed to being strong in specific positions.
Yeah, of course. And I think being well-rounded is very important. Specificity is king, but only to a point.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've met power lifters that are very strong dudes, but they can't pick up a very heavy rock just because it's so awkward for them.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people do neglect grip. And I think regardless of like what type of sporting you're doing, like some sort of grip training is good.
Yeah, and the thing about it's crazy if you don't neglect grip and you actually do it. It only takes you a year to be able to do really cool feats like Hubba 45 and tear a deck of cards in half and crazy cool things that are really neat, you know?
Yeah, you know, and
it feels great, man.
That is awesome. You know, it's
it
great anime, I guess. You know, you watch anime and people are like, you know Robert Nahedley?
Yes, Najedli. Yes, absolutely.
I saw a picture of a deck of cards he had, and he called it a vertical notch. He pinched it and like tore like a thumb-sized piece out of it.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. And
dude's 118 pounds.
That is like an anime, you know, on TV shows.
Yeah, and he's 118 pounds, and he can smash a horseshoe into a paper clip to where you can get it tighter with a press.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous. That's why I say, you know, no matter who you are, man, woman, child, whatever, how tall or short, fat, whatever, you could have a very strong grip.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's one of the most powerful, smaller guys out there in grip. It's like a modern Mighty Atom or something.
Yeah, I try to encourage some of the guys at the warehouse to train grip. Like sometimes when I come in, I'll bring a gripper with me, and like 10 guys will look at it and try to close it, you know, and some of them will ask me questions about it, and I just hope I could keep you know, entertaining them that way. You know, try to draw more people into it. You know,
where's your gripper closing at now? What are you closing currently?
I'm pretty new to grippers, but I could close a GHP 5, and I think on a good day, like on a better day, if I'm not working, I could close a 6.
Okay, those are pretty tough grippers right there.
Those are pretty tough, and I'm not very familiar with gripping. Honestly, I still need to watch videos on technique with grippers. I'm not very good at those. I love the GM 150. Do you know what that is?
You got something to write something down? I can tell you the best video there is to learn how to set a gripper.
If you want to like DM me it,
yeah, I'll just send it to you. But yeah, look up Paul Knight how to set a gripper.
Okay.
And that is by far the best one is Paul Knight's video. I'll shoot you a message.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. You know, I do find another big part about you know, getting better and like getting stronger in training is, you know, like I said earlier, immersion. You gotta surround yourself around people that are very strong, very powerful. And that's exactly what I did when I wasn't very content with how I was lifting. You know, I surrounded myself with people that were better. And that definitely, putting yourself in that environment is huge. Like I had a friend who he went to jail. He was only like 140 when he went to jail. And you go to jail, that's a very rough environment, a very high testosterone environment. And when he came out of jail, he was 200.
Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes, you know, the type of environment that you set yourself in, the type of people you choose to be around, and the type of mindset you have, I think are the most important things you can have, the most important things you can do.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to look like a piece of meat in jail.
No.
You want to be, you don't be able to, you know, look like you're a visual deterrent right there.
Yeah. You don't want to be a big guy either, because from what I hear, you know, people test themselves on big guys.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah.
No, you hear some crazy things, especially if you're like me and you live in the Metro Detroit area. There's crazy people. You hear all sorts of stories. Very rough.
Yeah, absolutely. I worked in a psych unit for a little while with people that were in and out of the correction facility as well. So for sure.
Yeah. That's a tough job. My fiance used to work in like a mental hospital, and so it'd be her and like another person in a room with like 20 patients. And honestly, I wasn't very comfortable with that. Not at all. You know, she's 5'4", 120 pounds. I was not comfortable with that.
Yeah,
So,
like they need to have a crew of enforcement there. So that's what we had in our psych unit.
you know, when I hear stories of the 300-pound male nurse getting his wrist broken by a patient, that's kind of frightening, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big dude like that gets messed up in the work environment. That's a pretty rough environment.
Yeah, adrenaline can do some crazy stuff, man. I've seen some small people do amazing things in psychiatric care.
Yeah, and that's just more proof about, the mind.
Absolutely, 100%. And you'll see, a team of 5 or 6 officers will have to take down a guy that weighs 130 pounds. He's coming down from something, or he's on something, and it's causing him psychosis, and his adrenaline is just fired through the roof.
Oh, definitely. You hear stories.
Good luck dealing with that.
Others off children, and you hear stories of stuff like that. You're
dealing with someone that's 100% fight or flight, like they're going to die for what they're doing, is a tough struggle. Absolutely.
Very, very tough struggle indeed.
So if you could start your training all over again with what you know now today, what would you do different? Why?
So for my personal goals, like the things
just your training. Absolutely. What would you do differently?
I would have eaten way more.
Okay.
I would have trained so much volume. I would have trained a lot less volume. I would have been very more strength oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And I just correct a few things like form, little tidbits. I don't think you don't have to make things super complicated to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't really have to put much thought into it, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I was surprised when I started training for strength as well. That's what we did this past year. And we got a decent amount stronger. I probably got about 30% stronger on all my lifts.
That's really good.
About a year. But yeah, I realized,
30% is very good.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were complete noobs, but yeah, still, it's a good gain.
Still, yeah.
We realized quickly that volume is going to destroy you, and that you have to train less, a lot heavier, and rest a lot more. And especially, in your 30s. Well, I'm 36, so yeah, at this age, recovery is huge. It's amazing how much stronger you can get sleeping.
Oh, of course. I'm only 22, so I can get away with some things, but I definitely not to, if I can help it. The thing that takes away most from my training is just work. But that's okay because I get a bit of training from work,
Yeah, absolutely. When you're lifting heavy appliances.
I'm stripping fridges, I'm pulling things into the truck. It's a lot of hefty work. So I come home and I'm like covered in sweat. I'm covered in dirt. I look gross.
Are you trying to test your grip now when you're at work? Or do you find like a good, nice sized pinch implement and try to carry things a certain way to test your grip?
The fact that I work with one of my best friends, we test our grip all the time on random.
Oh, that's fun.
I'll be like, oh, can you lift this? Like, can you pinch this and lift it? And he'll be like, I'll try, So we definitely, because we're very interested in grip. He's very interested in grip too. We definitely test out grip on the job site more often than most people would assume.
So you're going to get over to Don's pretty soon?
I do want to. I do want to
do that.
And I do want to try some bending with him.
Yeah.
I think it'd be very good for me. And bending just looks so cool, man. It just looks
my grip went up quite a bit with bending, and there's a decent amount of benders out there that they don't really do a lot of grip, but they've grabbed a gripper and just closed to number 3, and they just have some crazy wrist strength. I mean, the torque on your wrist is extreme. And Adam Glass, he, you watch his videos, he tells you if you get a stronger wrist, every other lift will go up.
Wow.
So
that's pretty huge,
Yeah.
And I like bending and I like grip because that is a form of training that's been around since man has been around.
Yeah.
People prove themselves time after time by bending steel and doing things like that. So, I really like steel bending and I really want to try to get into that. That's a very old school form of training. And I think, especially if you're like a natural athlete or anything like that, it's very respectable and it could do a lot for you.
Yeah, I feel like the old school training, it gets you strong enough without pushing you to where you're really going to try to injure yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just awkward enough to where it's going to tax these small muscles that you don't use too often, and you're going to be limited to what you can do.
Oh,
You're
for
not in perfect alignment using nothing but the big giant muscles.
sure. Yeah. You know, you can't only do compounds, can't only do isolations, you know, there does have to be quite a bit of diversity in your training, you know. A lot of people don't like to accept that. A lot of people do the same 3x10 for 5 years straight. And it boggles my mind, honestly. Like, how are you doing 3x10 with the same weight for, you know, 3-4 years straight?
I've seen that before. People will go to the same commercial gym for years, and you'll see the same weight every week, same lifts. You're going, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's astounding, honestly. But I mean, if I guess if you're a guy that's just trying to stay healthy, and not necessarily trying to improve, whatever, makes sense.
Yeah, it's better than doing nothing, I guess. You know?
It is even doing nothing to a degree, I guess.
A whole lot better than just sitting on the couch watching TV or whatever.
Definitely, you know. So I definitely try to encourage grip training to my coworkers because it's something you could do on the road. It's something that, you know, you could do at home, even if it takes.
Don might know who does grip in your area. You know, I'm sure there's some guys that do some grip stuff that he knows in your area as well.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, if there's benders in your area, there's going to be gripsters in your area. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, arm wrestling is pretty big in my area. Surprisingly,
that's cool.
You know, I love it. I love arm wrestling. It's very fun. You know, I don't consider it my like. I'm not going to put all of my training towards it.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a great hobby.
Have you seen the Moss wrestling?
Like mass wrestling, where they like sit across from each other and there's the between their legs. That is awesome, dude.
Yeah, that looks cool as heck, man. I've never tried that, but that looks like a fun grip sport too, doesn't it?
It does. It looks super fun. I saw Dennis.
Good fight, good battle.
Yeah, there's also a thing called wrist wrestling. That's very cool.
Yeah? I haven't seen that one.
It's where you go to arm wrestle, but you just put your wrists against each other. So it's all bicep and it's all side pressure.
I'll look that up. That's crazy.
It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be tough.
Yeah. Sadly, a lot of arm wrestling training is not something that's included in grip. Things like side pressure.
Yep.
Things like, well, I'm sure this is included in some grip aspects, but pronation isn't, you know. I see a lot of
more. I think more grip athletes are starting to dabble into it because more grip companies are starting to dabble into building stuff for arm wrestlers, and then the people that buy from those companies say, hey, maybe that'll help me with this in my grip. So I think it's starting to become more holistic.
Yeah, definitely. It seems that a lot of more niche sports are getting popular, especially since Larry Wheels popularized arm wrestling and grip sport.
Yep. Larry Wheels definitely was a huge contributor to that. I mean, millions of followers right there. And then Juju Mufu with Grip Genie. I mean, that's huge too. Those two guys, boy. You know, they both look like Mr. Olympias, and they both have the energy of like a, 4-year-old who just ate 7 cookies. So it's pretty fantastic, you know. See him out there just tearing it up.
Yeah, I don't go out of my way to watch Juji or Larry much, but I'm very thankful for what they did. You know, I'm very thankful that they got more people involved and they brought these sports to light, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I'd love to see more people training grip. I try to get as much people as I can. You know, I went to a 4th of July party and I brought my GM 150 dynamometer with me. It's
okay, cool. I know exactly what that is. I've never got to play on it. Those are the ones from Russia, right?
Yes, I ordered it from Russia.
Man. Yeah, I want to get a hold of one of those sometime.
Cool. They're only like $130.
Nice.
Yeah, they're not bad at all. I definitely recommend it, you know. Yeah. And I brought it to this party, and people were like, "Whoa, what's that thing?" And I was like, "It tests your grit, sees how strong you are," you know. And they're like, "No way, let me try it," you know. And I showed it to some people, and I scored just 185 pounds, and they were like, "Whoa, that's a really high number." And you know, most people were scoring like 100, 110, 120. But you know, I really want to have Don Cummings try that one.
Yeah, for sure.
You know Nathan Hawley? Nathan Hall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nathan Hall. Excuse me, I don't mean to butcher your last name. Yep. But he surpassed the world record on GM 150. Like he posted it on TikTok. He didn't even post it like on Instagram or anything like that. He just posted it on TikTok. He casually did it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He's a freak when it comes to his crushing strength. He's one of the best there is.
So I definitely wanted.
He may be. don't quote me on this, but he may be the only one that has a video of him doing a credit card close with the number 4. It's not out of the package. It's not a brand new number 4, but I believe he has a video of him doing a credit card close with the number 4.
I mean, it's more than likely legitimate, you know. That's
Oh no, it's definitely legitimate. Everything he's put up, I mean, he's been in it for 20 odd years. Everybody knows.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. But I definitely want to have Don Cummings test my GM 150, especially after seeing a steel bender like you know, Nathan and you know, Nathan try it. Nathan and Chuck, the Josh Goldthorpe tried it too. You know, he's really into steel bending.
Yeah, he's a guy I actually wanted to reach out to and get on our channel here in the not too distant future. He's quite, you know, quite involved in expanding the sport, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely really cool. You know.
Yeah, and his social media presence is pretty big. He's always trying to get the word out about it, so that's cool. Yeah, he gave me a narrative, like it was just a few sentences that helped my bending tremendously. I was just doing everything wrong, and he told me 2 things to change, and I went back in the garage, double wrapped a red nail, and crushed it.
That's awesome. You know, that just goes to show you, you know, the people you surround yourself with, it's going to have a big impact on your training, which is why I'm very excited to train with Don Cummings. I'm very excited to, you know, see what he could do like on a GM 150. Maybe he'll do something very shocking or very spectacular. I don't know. You know, we'll see.
He'll do something good. Absolutely. He's strong as heck, man. He's a big, strong dude.
Seeing the, you know, pieces he's done and the commission he's done, very powerful.
Yeah, he's a very powerful dude. And his endurance is insane, man. 100 red nails or like a 50-pound box of nails. Holy cow. So, what's the most important piece of equipment you have in your home gym?
The most important piece, I mean, I'd probably have to say my loading pin, I guess.
Okay.
I got a lot of pieces and stuff. I got my axle bar, you know, I got weight plates, but if I'm just looking at one piece by itself, there's so much that you can do with the loading pin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yourself. You don't have to use a loading pin for grip. There's many things you could do with it. So a loading pin to me is one of the most valuable pieces of equipment that anybody who has a home gym could have. You could make one at Home Depot for $20.
Yep.
You know, so that's definitely
the first one we did was we made it out of pipe from Grover's.
Of course, you put a little eye bolt at the top.
Yep, absolutely.
Exactly. You know, and that's awesome. You know, the fact that you could train grip without having to spend a lot of money. That's so huge to me. You know, it makes you think. You know, grip's very popular in Eastern Europe and very popular in some of the more Middle Eastern areas. You know, a lot of those countries, calisthenics, grip, arm wrestling, very popular, and it's because they're inexpensive. You know, they don't cost a lot.
Exactly. I think it can be easy, though, to get caught up with all the different grip implements out there and wind up spending a ton of money because there's a million things you can get.
You have a collection of grip toys.
So I think it's good to talk to, you know, experienced gripster and ask them, hey, what are like, you know, the top 5 pieces of equipment you use? You know, or ask them, what do you use on, you know, every day that I should be focused on getting? Because you can actually spend just a little bit of money and wind up great grip setup.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't need 400 implements, you know, although it seems like everybody in grip winds up with 400 implements.
Yeah, I don't need all these grip toys I have, but they're cool to have around, man, you know.
Absolutely.
I'd rather collect something like that than collecting whatever, you know, stamps, whatever.
Yeah, it always goes from a small grip collection to a grip pile to a grip wall.
Yeah, it goes from I got a couple handles to I got like 10 grippers to check out my wall, bro. You know, I'm in a pretty tight knit community online of people that I just like grip around with. I've gotten like 8 people that I know online to buy a little Bighorn handle, and we post. Right on. Yeah, we post lists with it pretty often. You know. So I got like 8 people to buy that, and now they're all buying like grippers and doing different things, and you know, it's very cool to see. You know, I saw one guy.
Man.
Yeah, I saw one guy. He didn't own
Yeah.
any grip tools, nothing. You know, he got into grip, and now he has a whole wall of things. You know, just to play around with grip. That's very awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. That's fantastic. Spreading the word about grip, man. That's
Definitely.
cool.
You know,
So,
the more you help other people, the more help you'll get yourself. That's
yeah, absolutely. That's what we've noticed, that 100% since starting this. We've been interviewing people, trying to get the word out, advice, and people have been sending us gifts and helping us out with training and analyzing our workout videos. It's cool.
Yeah, that's definitely why I love, you know, your company. That's really huge to me. It seems very super friendly, very inclusive. You know, it just tries to spread the word. That's huge. You know, you don't see a lot of that. In most sports, you see a lot of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
That's not okay. Not okay by any means.
Yeah, we're not cool with the whole trade secrets and keeping all the wisdom locked up. It's silly. I mean, how can you feel like you've competed against people that are, you know, that have a fair – how can you feel like you're on a fair plane if you know things that other people don't?
You can't. It's as simple as you really can't. And, you know, if you're gatekeeping, you know, what kind of champion are you really?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're a paper champion, right?
Yeah, 100% agree with that. So before we let you go, do you have any questions for us, Couch Potato Strong, or any more advice you'd like to give the average person at home just trying to get fit?
Man, it's pretty tough for me on the spot, you know, but I definitely think, you know, don't overthink things. Mind over matter is really huge, and surrounding yourself in the correct environment is huge. And I'm pretty sure that's, you know, you don't need much more than that.
Yeah, I think that's big. Not a lot of people have talked about that we've talked to, but I've noticed that, you know, honestly, if you look at the top guys in grip, most all of them train in a small community. They have a few dudes they train with on a regular basis, and I think that helps them tremendously.
Very willing to train, you know, they're very willing to, you know, help out and give advice. Yeah. And that's huge. You know, if you got a good community like that, there's only good things to come of that.
For sure. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. That means a lot, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate you chatting, and we'll get some golden potatoes out to you soon, and we look forward to seeing what you pull.
Well, I definitely want to post some lifts with that for sure. You know, I want to get more word out there.
That'll be fun to see. And it's a tough one. It looks like you can pull a lot on it when you get it in your hand, but then you go to grab with it. Boy, it's tough.
Do you think
very, very
do you think it's a little bighorn
deceiving. So you'll like it.
Definitely. I'm very excited. Thank you.
All right, cool. Well, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you take care, man. All right. Thank you.